Hi, and welcome to Christina Marie TV. I'm your host, Christina Marie Flores. Well, with the state of the economy and what it is right now and the budget crisis, I thought I'd bring you a little bit of fun. We have with us someone that's going to be a lot of fun. We have a comedian and a cartoonist, Michael Capozzola. Hi, Mike. How are you?
That's good value for your money. All in one. 2 guests in one.
Exactly. It's like 7-Eleven.
I thought you were going to have me do financial advising. Like, the money being the way it is.
What are you, Susie Orman? I don't think you have the wardrobe for that.
Nope, or the acumen.
Very nice.
Thanks for having me in.
Very good. So comedian and comic strip artist. Okay.
Yeah, cartoonist.
Cartoonist. So which did you start with first?
Oh, man. I mean, I do funny faces count as stand-up as a kid.
Yes, they do.
I think cartooning, though. I was always drawing.
So when you were a kid, what kind of stuff did you draw? Did you draw like little guns and people fighting each other? Or what kind of cartoons did you make?
I'm kind of sentimental, and I couldn't throw away a notebook from 2nd grade, and it's got all the work on the right side. And on the left, in the margins, it's like frogmen, astronauts hunting dinosaurs, it's like
Nice.
a lot of submarines. I loved submarines and frogmen, so they're all like, with the diver helmets and stuff. That was what I drew.
Were you a bad student and therefore just drew your way through? Or
I gotta be honest, I rocked like K through 6, and then it fell off dramatically after that. But K through 6, I was one of the top tier students. I was a good kid, and I don't know what happened after that.
Were you the kid that would always have his hand up with the answer that everybody else hated?
Yeah, kind of. But it wasn't like the right answer. It was like a funny answer. There's a report card my mom has from 2nd grade. It said, Michael's silliness has lessened a little bit. But there was a time where he had a comment for everything. And I was like, and then also it said, and he's really taken to drawing. It's like, what's changed? It's like there's nothing, 2nd grade, I was, like a fully formed Michael, silly and drawing, and that was...
Now, you weren't a really fully formed Michael
I don't
in
know how much
2nd
it's
grade.
advanced from there. At like 7, it kind of like hit a ceiling, and then I just got taller.
So what I want to know is because most of us kids just draw like the stick figures and we're really happy, and little puffballs with feet or things like that. When you're a kid and you draw, when you hit puberty, did the drawings change at all?
That's so funny. I remember there was this poster for For Your Eyes Only. It was the James Bond film, and it's got a woman's legs, and
Okay.
she's holding the crossbow, and then Bond is kind of down on the ground below her legs. And I drew this a lot. It's got guns and women's legs, and I know it was right around the time I was like 10. Came out in like 81 or whatever, and I was just like loved drawing, this foxy woman legs and Bond with the gun underneath, and it's things changed a little bit after that.
So then it changed from submarines to, guns and women's legs. And
I'm sure there's a seaman joke in there somewhere.
there is a lot. I ain't gonna touch it. It's too easy. Easy pickings.
It is too easy.
So did you get to did you sneak a Playboy and see the little cartoons in the Playboy and kind of see what kind of feeling you could evoke by having naked females drawn?
I don't know that I drew too many naked women. I didn't get to see too many naked women at 10 or 11. They weren't in my world, in my orbit. But I'd seen Playboy. It was kind of a naughty treasure. I remember, there was down the street from where I grew up, there in the suburbs. There was this area, a wooded area that had like some kind of canal, and there's a Playboy buried by the canal. Look for the pine cone. It's like that. And the neighborhood kids would make sure you put it back when you're done. But it's like this naughty thing where like, who told you? Stephen told me. And then like, sure enough, under the pine needles, it's Playboy. And it's like drenched from the rain, but it's like it's the real thing. And you don't have to worry about it getting discovered at home.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that just the same lines and the same drawing, the same pencil can create something and evoke feelings like Crumb.
Yeah.
I remember one time in my later teens, I happened across one of those, and I'm like, what the hell? It's really, really odd.
He's the best for that stuff.
He was amazing, yeah. So who were some of your early inspirations as far as cartooning? Who did you like to read?
When I didn't know better, it was like the Family Circus and stuff like that. But that's when I was like 3 or 4.
That was that little circle one that they had with the family with the kid that way too polite, way too polite.
It had no bite. But, it was like something you would get in 3rd grade and, stuff like that. But it wasn't so much the cartooning, but like Benny Hill I loved to watch, and the Super Friends on TV. It was more, for me, it was more superhero stuff, comic books for sure. So it kind of, for right or for wrong, the cartoons that I draw, the people, even if it's a bus driver, he's like heroic and proletariat looking, like the women are a little more like, I can't draw.
Can you do that again around the woman? Okay.
But I just, they all look a little more, the proportions and the drama, because my background is drawing superheroes. and I can't draw like Ziggy type,
Okay.
like that. It's more, I go for realistic, and it has a superhero feel. It's, I use a ruler. Everything's really kind of pristine. I try for that, and it's my default anyway. So I can't really. I admire the people who can do really loose.
You mean like Gary Lawson in The Far Side?
I wish I could draw that
big.
loose. So expressive, and I just.
What do you mean by loose, as opposed to the way
It's got a lot
it?
more feeling. My stuff, it doesn't have. That doesn't have feeling, but it's more like a drafting technique.
Mm-hmm.
You take Gary Larson; it's very expressive stuff. There are no straight lines. There's no right angles. He doesn't use a ruler.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like Gain Wilson and stuff like that. It feels like they went like this, and it just magically appeared. They're so good at it. And I don't, Charles Schultz was good at it,
Mm-hmm.
but me, I'm laboring over right angles and measuring, drafting.
And also, it's very much like making film, because the point of view or the way that you're looking at a piece can change the whole piece.
It's storytelling.
Oh, definitely. And so now you are getting paid for doing this. I mean, you are. You're getting paid.
Yeah.
You're working now. You have a strip in the Chronicle. What is the name of your comic strip?
I chose the clunkiest possible name, Christina. It's Surveillance Caricatures.
That just rolls off the tongue.
It rolls off the tongue.
Okay.
Yeah, like Zits. Same way Zits rolls off the tongue.
Nice. And this appears on Thursdays.
Yeah, in the 96-hour section. It's usually the last thing on the last page of the 96-hour section, which is the weekend guide.
Uh-huh. And how long have you been doing that?
Since April of 2007.
Very cool. And
Yeah.
you're enjoying it, I
I
take
love
it?
it. It's my favorite thing.
Now, it kind of has a slant on different people in the city that, now you're saying surveillance, because you actually sit down in a cafe and kind of watch somebody and go, that would be a good person for my script, and copy them. And
Yeah.
do you have to have a release or a waiver, from that person?
I called someone 2 days ago to see, or give them a heads up, like, a rough version of you is going to appear on Thursday, like that. I don't, but I don't put too many people, but I showed you a cartoon once at the bench, and you're like, oh my God, is that Michael Meehan, who's our comedian friend, and that was a real treat to know that the person I drew was the person you recognized. It's not me going, who do you think that is?
Right.
No, Wolverine? No, it's Mike Meehan.
That one looked exactly like you, Mike, if you're watching. Mike, but
and you should be watching.
He should be watching. Damn it, I'm paying you well. No, it's very funny. Have you ever had somebody that you drew that recognized themselves, that called you and said, "Hey, I didn't authorize that," or get mad?
It hasn't happened yet.
It hasn't happened, not yet.
The day is young.
And so, what is your cartoon strip about?
It doesn't really. It's actually kind of freeform. There are no recurring characters, and it's they stand alone. They're single panel cartoons. Up until New Year's, I was doing a strip that I called Cheap City, which was pretty much bad advice for getting by on a budget. Mm-hmm. And but the worst things got. It seemed to me, some people would say, "Oh, we need a strip like that," but it just seemed depressing to keep hammering the point, like, here's how you can get by cheaply. And like I said, it's bad advice, but some of these ideas didn't even sound that bad after a while. So I was like, let me just make people laugh and forget about it's almost like if you make a funny joke about terrorism or something on stage as a comedian, where it's like, it's funny, but it takes you out of the moment, like, oh shit, there's terrorism, and then you come back to it.
Right.
And you are taking out just a moment. Kind of like in Saving Private Ryan, where you see Ted Danson, and you're like, is that Ted Danson?
Yeah.
What? And then you go back into the movie, but it's, what?
So it kind of ruins the escapism that you have through that.
Yeah, so doing a strip that's funny only, which is what I shoot for, without having, the sense of it being advice or didactic or, I don't know, instructive for saving money.
Mm-hmm. And you've been doing this strip for a while, so where do you want to take it? Would you like to have your own strip in other magazines as well, other papers as well?
If I could get this in just like 200 other newspapers, I'd have a good thing going. I would love to get it syndicated.
Is that like your dream career? Are you doing what you've always dreamed that you wanted to do? Is this it?
I've wanted this since I was young. I remember, like Mad Magazine was huge with me, and drawing the wacky packages. I have crappy cartoons from third grade that I made. I have, I've wanted that for a while.